instead, or maybe just kind of swap a little bit. Esmeralda onto Sync and Forza onto Paquito. You know, things you may not be able to tell. But Forsaken, I'm curious, right? Early/late game, tilting more towards the late game. They are trying to go for sustain. They're trying to go for damages. The Lapu as well as Roger is able to bring out. But I'm worried.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of draft-wise, whoever picks up the early game will have a huge advantage, needless to say, as with every single game. But with Forsaken, it will matter even more because for RSG here, it's just going to look to try to steamroll with that Popo and Koopa in case immediately see Forza invading at level 1, kind of just ignoring the fact that they have an Estus. And so they're trying to bully this Estus even before he picks up the first item. Forza dropping very low here. They're trying to contest over the blue buff, but it looks like it's going to be secured. Nevertheless, by Forsaken, now Forza dropping very low. Here comes a Matilda flash. One more hit to go, but the flicker will get him out of trouble. As Sana's going to burn that flicker as well. Oh no, Sana, both heroes on the side of RG going to burn that flicker to get out of trouble. But more importantly, Forsaken, they don't lose anything. They still manage to secure that blue buff on that Roger.
Doesn't seem too much of a deal for both Forsaken as well as RSG because they are really trying to do whatever that they can to work things out. And in the meantime, Ly4 is just gradually heading himself into the opponent's jungle to farm out as much as he can. And he also stole the opponent's the red buff with the help of Esmeralda. So they don't really even care about their own red buff. And now Granger will slowly head his way over back to their own jungle to take their own purple buff. And that is going to help Ly4 skyrocket in terms of damage, in terms of itemizations as well. So Ly4 probably is going to head himself off into a really good early game and roam together with Forza, Sync, or perhaps even literally the entire team from RSG.
Yeah, just a very small thing to note here, right? You saw Forza as well as Sana kind of just invaded that blue buff.
Yep.
And while RSG was still with a red, once they managed to get out of trouble, they immediately rotated back to the top lane. It might look like it's just to put a little bit of early pressure on Lapu, but what this does for RSG is that they also cover their own red buff. So if there is ever a need to counter Forsaken's invade to take the red buff from Granger's jungle, they are always ready for a team fight. And this is the small little micro plays and the macro rotations that RSG has on lock. And now we go. Ly4 already hitting that level 5, does have his ultimate there. Almost managed to burst out the ants. Jason tried to dive in with the Paquito, but just slightly out of range, not even using the double punch that out. That being said, Singsi coming in for Sing coming in from the back with the falling stunwood. Just manages to pick up the kill onto double. And that is Alice down. And not only that, RSG will also pick up a turtle for their reward as a 2-0. On top of it, they also pick up a turtle. They might even go for more. They find the Astos lingering around for too long, and now they straight away dive onto the blue buff. Yes, Kai might have secured that blue buff, but he can't go back in. Flash will drop very low as well, and now Evo C might be the next one to join his teammates in the base. He will get out of trouble. But look at that, RSG, the amount of pressure that they're mounting on within the first 3 minutes.
Hands down, exactly what we were looking out for. Once Ly4 manages to secure 2 red buff as well as 1 purple buff for themselves, they're able to take control of the lanes, take control of the maps as well, getting themselves a decent amount of kills throughout the board. While Evo C up to the top lane did manage to successfully take down Jason, but unfortunately the kill went over to the side of Ly4, and thus it is going to be a bigger threat onto the head of the side of Ly4. They should be really scared. They should be really afraid of what Ly4 is able to bring onto the table, because Jason going down is not that big of a deal. While down to the bottom side, Flash, Bao, and Kai successfully manages to bring down Sync, and just going to be hitting away right onto the outer turret shield.
And this is what I love to see coming out of Forsaken, knowing that they can't win the team fight early game. They have a lot of late game heroes on the side, but they have this Matilda that's going to be able to build on 1-2 items. They need a bit of farm and Lapu, and more importantly, they have that burst of the Matilda coming in. So they're just going to constantly go to side lanes, try to get 1-2 gangs off on RSG's lineup, and then try to take a turret or a turtle. So this is what I like coming out of Forsaken. A turtle fight coming up in the next 25 seconds. But Bao put in a very bad position. He didn't have a frontliner there. Tried to go for a face check, but RNG none the wiser, just catching them on doubles, just going to go down immediately as well. And this is looking bad for Forsaken, because without this Alice, This just means that RSG is going to give it a free turtle.
Oh, the traps that's being laid down by Forza is definitely one thing that they should be afraid of. A stun after the stun is definitely tough. Jason jumps right in onto Evil C. He did not exactly get the combo that we wanted, but it just pretty much to just push Evil C away from the top lane as he exerts a little bit more dominance together with the rest of RSG as he secures the turtle. In the meantime, Bao, HP down low, completely critical, down to the hands of Sana, while Jason completely jumps onto the back lines while Evil C completely out of position. He tries to go for a 1v5. He tries to make some space, but the space that he made is just for his opponent to run, just for his teammates to run away, which is actually not quite necessary because Forsaken has already secured an exit for themselves.
RSG here, they know that they're a little bit on the timer. They don't want to allow Double to pick up his items. You see, only one duel onto the bot lane, but RSG putting up so much pressure on the tier 2 on this top side. Forsaken clear up the waves, not really looking for a team fight, and rightfully so. They need a bit more time on that Ly4ly4ly4 to come online. He's just managed to pick up his Bloodlust X, so he should be able to provide some sort of damage coming into the next team fight. But look at this, Forsaken, picking up both the Alice as well as Ly4ly4ly4. The goal here is to pick up 2 tanky bruisers that can sort of just sustain through the damage for RSG.
And now the entire team of RSG jumps right on top of Flash. No one can pretty much face check into the brushes as much as, literally no one can do that. While Kai takes a kill down on the Forza. They want to go for more, and Double is just going to be making his play right on top of Sync, but unfortunately the amount of CC that's going up all top is just way too much for them to handle. Jason, he still has got himself the next knockout strike and enables him to go for the next one, while the rest Forsaken completely disintegrated. They are decimated under the hands of RSGSG, and thus the middle lane first turret is going to be taken down by Forsaken, and the amount of kill lead the RSG has got for themselves is a total of 10, and of course a total of 6,000 gold advantage the RSG has got inside of their pockets. They should be really happy right now. An abundance of money, enough for them to buy themselves a good amount of Ferraris.
Look at that. Forza first one to go in is the Popo and Koopa. Yes, did sacrifice his life, but look at how much Forsaken had to throw him. The Alice did buy them enough time, but the moment Jason was loading up his passive, double punch going in, the burst damage just too much. And look at Ly4ly4. He's pretty much untouched throughout the entire fight. And this is why you don't give up the Paquito. He's just so much space. Yeah, so much space not only created by Jason, but the burst damage dealt by the Paquito just instantly outweighed the healing that the Asters could have brought to Forsaken's lineup.
The itemization from Jason is no doubt gonna be Bloodlust X, and he should be able to pick up the Hunter Strike right about now. Hunter Strike is gonna enable him. Okay, the Hunter Strike is gonna go on to Ly4 first. So this is going to enable RSG with a grand amount of mobility down up top. Sync actually just going to nosedive onto the turret, gets himself a kill on the Evil C, and perhaps even onto Bao with that falling Star Moon. He himself is gonna go straight down to the side of Kai, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna be that big of a problem as the Lycan Pounce from the side of Kai gets himself right out of the equation. But Flash goes down for the count, and thus the inhibitor turret at the top lane is destroyed, while the second turret in the bottom lane may be under threat as Double is unable to save his own soul. As Sana immediately breaks him down right under the turret's nose.
That teleport, and not only that, just to catch Double out of position, a little bit of a gutsy move, but that gamble kind of paid off really well. In fact, it wasn't really a gamble, right? He just took a turret shot to the face.
If it happened to work, then it works. If it doesn't get a kill, it's okay. We get the outer turrets then.
Yes, either way, they were gonna secure that tier 2 turret, but
it's just a bonus.
The pacing of the lore you brought to the game just allows RSG to move so freely on the map, and this is the control that I was talking about. RSG just constantly one step ahead in terms of rotation, and this is just proving up to be a little bit of a problem for Forsaken. I would throw a little bit of a lifeline there. I think Forsaken still have one more fight in them. They need to try to delay this game. No matter what it takes, they need to delay it as long as possible. That's when the Alice is going to shine, and that's when Ly4ly4ly4 gets tankier by the minute as well.
Now, on the contrary, with the 10,000 gold lead that RSG have, Forsaken will definitely have a lot of tough time for the side of Kai to even get himself the items up. The suffocation that RSG is putting onto the board is proving to be tough for RSG, for Forsaken to be able to hold it out. With Bao being the first one to go down, the burst sustain wasn't even able to go right out. Evil C trying to go on an offensive with a slip of health left. Jason takes himself a double last man alive. He tries to make himself out of that, but who knows where he can go. He's definitely going to be crying his way out as the final dance of Sync is going to enable him with the next kill as they execute onto the 10-minute Lord. No charge, but it should be able to help them to secure the inhibitor turret that Forsaken still have. Bringing the entire base into a barren wasteland is definitely going to be the next step of victory for RSG.
Good bait coming out from RSG as well. The Lord is ultimate just to push the Matilda towards the left side so that Esmeralda can have an easier chase. But at this point in time, Forsaken just finding themselves in a very familiar position that they were in game 1. A little bit faster than the previous game, but
a lot faster actually.
Yeah, but
10,000 goal lead.
Back to the same destination, right? It doesn't really matter how RSG gets there, as long as they're quicker in terms of the rotation, as long as they pick up the turtles and the lords at a faster pace. Forsaken, it just really seems that RSG wants to blow them out of the water.
10,000 goal lead. Completely suffocated from farm. There is just no way that Kai can get himself into the game because the entire team of RSG very likely just going to be jumping onto the Kai once the front line gets thinned down. Bao has already used the blessing of the Moon Goddess, and thus there will be no more ultimate from the side of Estes to even sustain for this fight, because this is pretty much going to be a guaranteed kill, guaranteed bring down of the turret, or maybe not. We shall be looking at this as Evil C gets himself right into the heart of the enemies. They managed to get a kill right down the starter, but there's still 4 adversaries left. Kai as well as Bao. What can they do? No blessing on the Moon Goddesses. They are trying to get a kill down. Flash makes himself right in. They did not manage to bring a single man down as Ly4 left with a sliver of health. He brings down the core with no problems whatsoever. And thus, ladies and gentlemen, we've got RSG with a 2-0 victory. And